Hi everyone, I hope you're well. This is a video all about switching from exclusively breastfeeding to combination feeding. So basically my story is I've been breastfeeding for 8 months exclusively, pretty much, like with the odd express bottle here and there, and the odd bottle of dairy-free formula because my son has a cow's milk protein allergy, or however you say it. And we're about to start like the milk ladder thing with him to try and grow him out of his intolerance. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, he has been exclusively breastfed for 8 months, and I'm going back to work in a week and a bit. So we thought while he's gone to full-time nursery now, we would then have to switch to bottles during the day, because I just couldn't, with our sort of time schedules, how many hours I work, I am full-time. Expressing just wasn't an option. My husband is away a lot because he's in the Navy, and I have a toddler as well, so sitting expressing at work just was never going to happen, unfortunately. But I kind of wasn't ready to give up the whole breastfeeding thing yet. I thought I'd be done by now. I always said, oh, once I get to a few months I'll be happy, once I get to 6 months I'll be happy to stop, once he gets teeth I'll definitely stop. He now has like his 2 bottom teeth and all 4 are coming up here, but still going for some reason, not very sure why. But during the day, as I said, he is now getting 2 bottles of dairy-free formula, which looks like this. This is the Nutramigen, I'm not sure if I'm saying that properly, hypoallergenic formula numero 1. So yeah, he I'm not gonna lie, smells horrendous. Like literally awful. Like if you think normal formula smells bad, dairy-free formula literally smells like gone off fish. Yeah, not nice. But it's kind of, it's got like it's very similar consistency, a little bit less yellow from what I remember, and it's a lot stickier when it's like gets wet, and it's sometimes when it leaves residue in the bottle it goes like funny. But yeah, not nice stuff. I was convinced that we would never get him to take it, just because when I've tried in the past, when I've been out or if I haven't quite expressed enough, it's been very hard to get him to take this. But we seem to be doing okay now. And kind of the way we managed it is, I was very, very lucky. Well, not lucky, I was not lucky at all. That is completely the wrong word. When Lachlan was born, he couldn't latch for the first month. So I had to exclusively express a million billion times a day to get my milk supply up and feed him with a bottle. So he has had a bottle in the past and he's taken it fine. I know there's a lot of women out there who are breastfeeding and want to switch to combi feeding and their babies won't take a bottle. I think in that sense, from what I can understand, the best thing to do is to just persevere. I know it sounds really, really like what are you saying? You don't know, your baby takes a bottle. You know what I mean? But there's so many different brands, there's so many different types to try. And I know you don't want to waste your money, you don't want to buy loads, but maybe if friends have a certain type, maybe they could sterilize one and let you try it just to see if your baby will take it. From what I've heard from friends, eventually they do just take it, or if they're at the sort of age that Lachlan's at, kind of like 8ish months, maybe a little bit older, you could maybe try giving it in a cup instead, because Lachlan started having water in a sippy cup thing, so he'd probably drink milk out of that bit. Luckily for me, he does just drink a bottle. At first we were using these Medela sort of breastfeeding specific bottles with the really funny teat. When I brought this into nursery they were like, what's that? I've never seen one like that, because it's got like a kind of airflow system thing in it there that makes it really hard for them to sort of get it out. Not hard, but just makes them work for a bit more so it doesn't sort of disrupt breastfeeding in that in the beginning, from what I understand. Really good bottles. We've used these are what I used in the beginning, but he's older now and breastfeeding is completely established and there's no problems there. So instead we are using just plain Tommy Tippy bottles. I was going to go down the whole anti-colic bottle route, which are like these are left over from Isla. But then I thought, why am I making things harder for myself? Why am I putting like so many bits to get washed and everything when I'm sure he'll just drink from this fine? So we were like, we'll try these, and if he gets really burpy and gassy and horrible with the formula, then we might switch to these. But so far he's been fine, so we are going with these. By the time Lachlan started this week, he had dropped his feeds during the day down to 2 feeds a day. And it was really hard with breastfeeding. Like when he started nursery, we gave them like 3 or 4 bottles, because I was like, I don't know how much milk he actually gets through me in comparison to what you put in a bottle. So I kind of gave them more than what I thought they'd need, just in case like he did have loads and loads and I just didn't realise. But he is just taking 2 bottles, which is great. And I thought there'd be an issue, because when I try to bottle feed him, he's really fussy and he grabs at me and he pulls at me and everything else. But I think it might be because he's in a completely different environment and he's with people who have no association with feeding with him at all. He takes the bottle just fine, which is good. He still feeds from me first thing in the morning and at night and through the night. And my way of thinking was that was just making things easier for myself. As much as I'd obviously love to still feed him during the day, I'm not with him during the day. So if I wanted to hang on to the breastfeeding, it would have to be at night. And then in terms of bottles and night feeding and sterilising and this, that and the other, like I don't have one of those perfect prep machines or anything. I'm just a bit lazy, and I kind of thought if I can just carry on feeding him myself through the night, then what's easier? There's no bottles, there's no sterilising, it's just boop, there we go. So that's kind of been why I'm carrying it on at night. That sounds really awful. I mean, it's more because of the lovely bond and everything, not just to make my life easier. This time around I'm sterilising my bottles in a cold water steriliser, just because it's what I got given at hospital for all my sort of pump bits and bobs from when I was expressing, and I've just not really looked the electric one out again. It takes up so much room and it has to be plugged in and everything else, and it's quite static. So I just thought, well, I'll just keep using the cold water one for now, and if not, I've got a microwave one that I can use as well, so I might try that out. But because we're only sterilising 2 bottles a day, it's not really that sort of labour intensive or anything, so everything fits in the little cold water steriliser quite fine. In terms of me and the way I feel, I found the transition a bit painful, obviously, because I've dropped 2 feeds during the day, and I was going to sort of express off. And I've got this really handy hacker pump that I use that literally you just squeeze and attach and just leave it and it draws your milk out. And I use this a lot for when I was out and about or sort of leaving him for a night and I would be out and I'd get a bit sore, I'd go to the toilet and use this. So I do really love this, and I was all sort of prepared to have to do it. I have a review of this, actually, a review video, so I'll pop that below. But I was ready to like have to, you know, take the edge off, but I've not really had to. I've managed to sort of persevere just to sort of try and not mess up my milk supply so much and sort of get it going again. So on the first day I did it a little bit, and then since then I've just not bothered. I've kind of gone with the pain. I've not let myself get completely engorged to the point where I'm really sore and like your nipples go in funny directions and all that sort of thing because they're like, ah, what's going on? I've kind of just gotten like really full and like a heavy feeling and maybe a little bit of pain, and if I like bump them they'd be sore. But now I'm a week in, that's a lot less, so obviously my supply is starting to go down quite a lot. And then I get worried about not being able to feed properly at night. But then last night he like fed for like 2 hours, so he's probably bumped my supply back up again. So sorry, this is not like a how-to combi feed sort of video, it's more just telling you my experience. But in terms of tips, I would say figure out a schedule, stick to it, because I don't think my body would let me pick and choose when I feed him sort of thing. It kind of needs to be at a certain time of day or not sort of thing, just to stop the whole supply messing up and everything. So it'd be kind of pick your time, stick to it, stick to your schedule, introduce the bottle as soon as you can, let someone else feed the baby if possible, just because they're not associating that person with breastfeeding. Try loads of different bottles out, ask a friend, see if you can sterilise one of theirs instead of wasting money. In terms of types of formula, I can't really comment on that. We use the dairy-free one, and we've used other ones in the past, normal ones with Viola, and I think they're all very much same sort of thing. So just go with whatever you'd like to, and just make sure you're sterilising everything properly, and make sure you're taking care of yourself and listening to your body. And if you're getting really sore, I'm at the end of the day now and I can feel like it's quite hard. If you need to express off a little bit just to take the edge off, and then yeah, just sort of go with the flow and hope it all goes well for you. If you are trying to get your baby on this dairy-free formula and it's disgusting and they're not taking it, like Lachlan was a while back, I've heard that if you get, I can't remember if it's a Galaxy hot chocolate or some sort of hot chocolate that is dairy free, make sure it's dairy free obviously, and mix like a little sort of half tablespoon in, it just sweetens it a little bit and takes the edge off the rather disgusting flavour. I have tried it myself and it is vile, so I feel very guilty about having to give Lachlan. I've tried normal formula tastes fine to me, but this dairy-free stuff is just something else. Another tip with this, and another tip in general actually, for moving from breastfeeding to combi feeding to bottle feeding, whatever you're trying to do, is maybe mix a bit of your express milk with the formula. So again, like you're mixing the taste a little bit, and babies sort of recognizing something they know and love, and then they might be more accepting of sort of the formula, and then just increasing it as you go. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this. Any other sort of breastfeeding videos or anything like that you'd like to see? That sounds really creepy. That sounds like I'm going to breastfeed on camera for you. That's not what I meant. But if you're after any other sort of hearing about our journey and our experience, then let me know in the comments below and I'll see what I can do for you. But thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and we'll see you very soon. Bye!